Hello and welcome back to another episode of Funny Shapes. If you don't know me, I'm your host Lottie, and on today's episode we're going to talk about the Dutch Grand Prix and the Italian Grand Prix. So, I've been away for a couple of weeks, more than a couple actually, maybe like a month, maybe. I did not post an episode for, I think, the last two races before the summer break because I was working and I filmed it probably like 4 times and I hated it. All of them. I just couldn't. I was like, I prefer not to post it than to post something that I don't like. So we didn't have an episode. Then we had summer break. So didn't have anything to post. But now we're back. We've had 2 races. I was on holiday still after the Dutch Grand Prix, so I couldn't film an episode only for the Dutch Grand Prix. So we're gonna combine the Dutch Grand Prix and the Italian Grand Prix in one episode. So let's get into it. So summer break happened. We had to live through almost a month without F1, which is not fun. It never is. But it has to happen, you know? So yeah, summer break happened. Nothing like major happened during the summer break. We had Carlos being confirmed to move to Williams, which is not something that I'm happy about. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was very, very mad. I remember the exact moment that I saw the post. I was just chilling, catching some sun. It's summer break, you know? I was just chilling, and out of nowhere, I just hear my phone going off, like extremely, like over and over and over and over again. I was like, what is happening? What is happening? And it was the news that Carlos was indeed moving to Williams, and the rumors were actually true. So, yeah, I don't know, to be honest. And like, the rumors keep saying that Adrian Newey will go to Aston Martin. But in my opinion, the only way that Carlos would go to Williams is like if they gave him more than just, oh, we're gonna give you a good car. Them just saying this to him is not really, I don't think it is like enough for him to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna move from Ferrari to Williams. But then I've heard today that I think about 20 people from Red Bull are moving. Rumors say that they're moving to Williams. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see what will come out of that little situation. I'm not too confident about it, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna be sad to see him leaving Ferrari, but at the same time, I'm so excited to see Lewis and Charles as a teammate duo. I'm really excited. I hope it works, because if not, I will actually cry. But yeah, let's get into the Dutch Grand Prix. So, Dutch Grand Prix, we had practices on Friday. Nothing major happened. Then on Saturday, we had the third practice, and Logan crashed, like a big crash, because the track was kind of wet. It had been raining. So, big crash, which will come into play a few days later. Then, in quali, Carlos got out in Q2, which was so sad. I didn't watch it live because I was in the metro at the time of quali, and I share my F1 TV, and there's already too many devices logged. So when I want to watch it on my phone, I have to log it out of the iPad, and I completely forgot to do that before I left the house. So I was like, oh shit. So I was just following it through my friend. I was like, tell me everything that happens. So she did. We had Carlos out in Q2, which was not very fun. Not at all. But yeah, it wasn't like a very like chaotic quali. And then we had Lando getting pole for Max's home race, which was so fun. But at the same time, I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared because Lando in pole position are not something that is like okay, it's great. Pole position, win is in the bag. No. Um, I think I saw like the stats of Lando starting in pole position, but I actually don't know where did I see that. But I saw it somewhere that every time he started in P1, he didn't finish P1. So I was like, okay. Max is the king of Zandvoort. He brought that Grand Prix back to life. So I was like, okay, so Max is gonna win. He hasn't won in a little bit, so I was like, I'm not gonna be too mad. It's his home race. Charles won his home race. Lewis won his home race. So I was like, okay, I can let him win his home race, you know? But then Sunday comes around. Race starts. Lando loses the position. And I was like, oh, okay, we're done. He's gonna disappear in front of Lando. Goodbye. It was good while it lasted. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Lando came back. Lando overtook Max. Lando finished 22.9 seconds ahead of Max, ahead of a Red Bull. McLaren finished 22.9 seconds ahead. When I saw, like, the little thing going up and up and up, when it got to 20 seconds, I was like, what is happening right now? And Max complained the whole race. He just kept complaining. The car wasn't turning. The car wasn't doing whatever. He kept complaining over and over and over and over again. And I was like, please stop complaining. I know it's your home race. You haven't won a race in a few weeks. But he was complaining so much. He sounded like a child on the radio, complaining over and over and over again. And I was like, what is happening right now? Is McLaren really the fastest car on the grid right now? Because I've said this before. If you told me in February, when we had the preseason testing, that the RB20 before half the season, but like at the half of the season, after the summer break, the RB20 would not be the fastest car on the grid, I would have actually laughed in your face. Because that didn't seem possible when we heard the RB20 for the first time. But Max, in an interview last year, he said that he was afraid that he was going to look back at the RB19 and see that it was his most successful car. And he was right, because RB19, 19 wins. It was history being made. It was also pissing every single person that wasn't that wasn't a Red Bull fan, including me. I couldn't see that anymore. And I'm so happy that the Max dominance is over. But I think it's really hard for him. But at the same time, I don't really care. I'm sorry, but this is so fun. I love this season. But yeah, those 22 seconds were drastic. And it was so fun to watch. Not gonna lie, it was so fun. I was so happy. And then Lando, being the sassy king that he is, goes on the radio and drops a Simply Lovely after winning Max's home race. I love him. My love for him was already like through the roof. After that, I was like, I fucking love him. So iconic, so good. And then Monday comes around. What happens? Logan gets dropped. Which, for me, it wasn't a big surprise. I was not like, oh my god, I didn't see this coming. No. And all of the edits on TikTok being like, oh, I'm so sad for him. Okay. I am sad for him because, after all, he lost his job. It's the dream of every single racing driver to get to F1. And losing that position is incredibly sad, and I'm sad for him in that perspective. Now, I'm not sad and be like, oh, I don't understand why they did it. No, because he didn't do anything to be like, oh, maybe let me just finish the season. He didn't. He crashed the car almost every single weekend. And the people that are like, oh, I'm so sad for him. People need to understand that to fix a car when they crash it, it doesn't cost just like 300 euros to fix a little part of the car. No, it costs millions and millions and millions of euros to fix that car. And he kept crashing it. And when he didn't crash, he didn't finish even close to the point. If he was finishing like through the whole season, P12, P13, P14, even P15, like until P15, the whole season, I don't think he would be dropped. He wouldn't have a contract for next year. But I don't think he would have been dropped. Now, I was very confused with their decision to put Franco Colapinto in his place. Because Franco is a rookie in F2, okay? So, they're taking him from F2, putting him in the car for these 10 races, and then he won't have a seat for 2025. He can't go back to F2. He will probably just become a reserve driver for them for don't know how many years. Maybe he will get a contract for 2026 somewhere else. But he will be a reserve driver. He will have probably, 3 practice sessions in a year if nothing bad happens, of course. You know what I'm saying? I don't know at what point that's good for his career because he could have had a few more years, maybe even just one more year in F2 to get experience. So I don't know at what point James Hall was like, oh, this is a good idea. Okay, his first race went good. He finished P12, which is really, really good for someone that never raced in F1. And sorry, not sorry, but Logan could never. But at the same time, I'm like, was it the best choice when you had Mick and you could put Mick in the car for these 10 races? And then he comes in and he's like, oh, Mick isn't special. We're looking at our future. I'm sorry, but your 2025 lineup is done. You don't have to sign anyone for 2025. Why are you taking a rookie from F2, depriving him of having more experience just so you can put him in the car? I would agree that he would take a rookie from F2 if he was like, okay, we don't have one of our drivers for 2025. We don't know who we're going to put in the car. That would make sense because it's like, oh, we don't have anyone for a seat, so we're going to test this out and see how it works. No. He needed a driver for 10 races. He's like, Mick isn't special. You're not special, and you're still here. I was so pissed. And people were like, in the comments, I made a video, and people were like, oh, Mick isn't special. He didn't do anything while he had a seat. Did I say that Mick was the best driver on the grid? I did not. I can admit that Mick didn't do enough to keep his seat at the end of 2022. Okay. But I can also say that Haas treated him extremely bad. Okay? Good we got to that. Now, I think Mick would have been the perfect option. Just stay in that car for 10 races. We're not talking about 20 races. We're not talking about 5 races. Whatever. We're talking about 10 races. We're not talking about a whole season or sign a contract for next year. So I don't really see the point of putting Franco Colapinto there, but so far he's doing great. He hasn't crashed, which is good. He finished P12 at the Italian Grand Prix. Good. But I don't know what his career will become after that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that was a big thing that happened in the week prior to the Italian Grand Prix. Then we get to Friday. It's Monza weekend. I'm so excited because I love Monza. In case anyone doesn't know that, I love Monza. It's like Monaco and Monza. My babies, okay? Good. So, we knew that Kimi Antonelli would be taking part in FP1. What does he do? He gets in the car, puts on a pretty good lap. Then on the next lap, he crashes. George looked like he was about to cry when he saw his car on the wall. I laughed, not gonna lie, because he looked so depressed. And I laughed. I'm sorry, but I did. And then on Saturday, they announced that Kimi Antonelli would be a driver for Mercedes in 2025. Again, rookie in F2, bringing him to F1. It's crazy that there's drivers younger than me on the grid. I'm feeling really old. I'm 20 years old, almost 21. So that's saying something. But yeah, I think it can work, but I don't think it will work. You know? I think it would be beneficial. Just let him stay in F1 for one more year. Just one more year. Not, not 5 years, just a little year. Get a little bit more experience. Because he's a rookie in F2. He's not doing great in the standings of the championship. So I don't know at what point did Mercedes think, oh, this is a great idea. Maybe it will be great. Maybe it won't. Does that make sense? Maybe it will be great. Maybe it won't. We have to wait and see. But yeah, one thing that I am worried is George as a teammate to a rookie. Because I'm sorry to any George fans that are listening to this, but George can be pretty annoying. And his teammate is Sir Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion. Imagine him with a rookie. Imagine if Kimi is in front of him in a race. And he's like, I'm faster. I'm scared. I'm actually scared. But yeah, we have now 3 rookies for next season. Ollie Behrman, Jack Doohan. I say his name Doohan. Is it Doohan? Is it Doohan? I don't know. Jack Doohan. Or Doohan. I don't know. Whatever. And Kimi Antonelli. So 3 rookies for 2025. We have to see what they can do. But yeah, let's get into qualifying at the Italian Grand Prix. It was very fun. Normal people getting dropped. Nothing major happening. We get to the end. It's like the laps are so close. I think Charles was like 9 tenths away from pole. I might be saying the wrong number. But Lando got pole again. Again, scared. We get to Sunday. It's Monza time. And Lando gets a good start. Which never happens. But Lando does get a good start. He doesn't lose his position in the first corner. We get to turn 4. And he loses his place. Oscar does one of the best moves of the season. Overtakes Lando. And people are hating Oscar for that. At that moment, they didn't have team orders. He did what a racing driver does. He overtook the car in front of him. Doesn't matter if it's his teammate or not. Okay? As we got into the race and they told him, you can fight papaya rules. I'm still trying to figure out what the papaya rules are. And right now it's Thursday. So it's been a few days and I'm still trying to figure out what the papaya rules are. They come with the papaya rules and they completely mess up their race. But at the end of the day, that was great. Because Charles won the Italian Grand Prix for the 2nd time in his career and made the Tifosi go insane and made me cry. I was bawling my eyes out, not gonna lie. I was crying because he won his 2 home races in a season. He won his home race and he won his team's home race, which is so. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry again. It's so good to see him win. It's so good to see him happy because that car is not great. Not great at all. At the Dutch Grand Prix, he managed to finish in 3rd place by some magic. But overall, that car isn't great, you know? So, I'm so happy. I'm actually so happy for him. The Tifosi were great. The Italian national anthem will always be one of the best moments in F1 ever and ever and ever. Like, there's no anthem that is sung like that. It's so special every time. But at the Italian Grand Prix, it's even more special. But yeah, let's talk about McLaren. So, they come with the papaya rules thing. And they mess up the strategy. Completely. And at the end, they didn't switch Lando and Oscar. So Lando would finish 2nd, Oscar would finish 3rd. And the people that are hating on Oscar are insane. You know why? It's not his job to just switch with his teammates just because he's like, oh, I'm gonna do that just because of the goodness of his heart. No, it's not his job. He's a racing driver. His job is to drive. Okay? His job is not to be like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna overtake my teammate. Maybe I'm gonna switch with him just because, well, I feel like it and he's in front of me at the championship. No. That's not his job. That's the team's job. Because in their contracts, there's something that says that team orders exist. And while team orders can be so annoying sometimes, in this specific case, team orders needed to be applied. Because in Hungary, when Lando was in 1st, like almost 6 seconds ahead of Oscar, Will, Lando's race engineer, came on the radio and he was like, oh, give the place to Oscar because he can help you in the future in the championship. This weekend should have been one of those moments that they had to be like, they had to come to Oscar and be like, Oscar, please give the place back to Lando. Not back, but like, give the place to Lando so he can get more points at the end of the race. They didn't do that. Why? Still trying to figure it out. Still trying. It's been 4 or 5 days. I'm still confused. But then, after the race, Will Buxton was pissed on the post-race show, and he was like, I haven't understood McLaren for months now. I still don't understand what they're doing. And he's like, I don't get it. You have the fastest car on the grid. You can close up to the championship, both constructors and drivers. Since Red Bull was on the back foot at Monza, Max finished P6. That would have been the perfect opportunity to give Lando a few more points so Lando could be even closer to Max in the championship. They decided that, no, we're not going to do that. Like, why? Why? Because P2 gets 18 points and P3 gets 15. Am I right? I think so. I was right. So, 3rd place gets 15. 2nd place gets 18. Those 4 points that separate P2 and P3 would have helped Lando. But why didn't they do it? I don't know. And not only Will Buxton was pissed, but Nico Rosberg was pissed as well. And he literally gave a lecture to Zach Brown. He was like, if you have the fastest car, you need to do something about it. You need to open your eyes if you actually want to win the championship. And Zach was just like standing there like, yeah, that's true, I guess. Like, they need to wake up if they even want a chance at winning the constructors. I'm not even gonna talk about the drivers for now because I don't know if they can get there. But I'm pretty sure they can get the constructors. Hopefully the drivers as well. But I don't think that will happen this year, unfortunately. But yeah. It was not a fun thing to watch. And I don't get it. I think something's wrong in that team, and Will Buxton said that maybe there's like something on Oscar's contract that says that he is a number one driver as well as Lando is, because Zach Brown keeps saying that he doesn't have any number two drivers, he has two number one drivers. Will literally rolled his eyes when Zach said that once again, and it's like, okay, you're both number one drivers, but one of you is very close to the championship, the other isn't. So you need, like, it's like, even if you're like, oh, we don't want to choose, you need to choose a driver that is closer to winning the championship. That's just basic knowledge. Like, if you go to a person that doesn't watch F1, doesn't understand F1, and you're like, so, you have two people. They're from the same team, but they compete individually in a championship. But there's nothing separating them. They're both the number one athlete. Okay? But driver number A is in front of the championship. Driver number B is not. Who do you favorite? Driver number A. That's the answer, and everyone will tell you that. And people hating on Oscar don't understand that it's not Oscar's fault, but the team's fault. So, yeah, I'm scared to see what McLaren will do for the rest of the season, because they have the fastest car. I never thought that I would see McLaren having the fastest car on the grid, but they do, and they need to enjoy that and need to maximize it as much as they can. But yeah, next we have Baku, which is such a fun race. It's like street circuit. It's a really good circuit. So I want to see what McLaren will do, what Ferrari will do. And yeah, I will see you for the next episode. Bye!